The long wait for the OnePlus Nord 3 is finally over. Although I don't know when that wait will end for a good Bollywood movie. Anyway, jokes apart, I've been using the Nord 3 as my daily driver for the past 2 weeks, and this video will be a review of the phone and comparison against the Poco F5. If you're here for the very first time, I'm Ershad. This is Trakin English, your place for incisive, detailed gadget reviews. Now, starting with the design, both these phones look uncannily similar. You get the same boxy design with glass on the front, glass on the back, and a plastic frame on both. You get Gorilla Glass 5 protection on the rear of the OnePlus Nord 3. I'm not so sure what glass protection is there on the Poco F5. But on the front, you get Gorilla Glass 5 on the Poco F5, whereas you get Dragon Trail Glass on the OnePlus Nord 3. Basically, build-wise, both are sturdy enough, I'd say. Also on the rear, both these phones have rings which have the cameras inside. OnePlus has 2, Poco F5 has 3. But these rings are much bigger on the Nord 3, so when you place it on a table, the table wobble is a lot more. By the way, apart from the flash, I also noticed that there is a color temperature sensor which is extra on the OnePlus Nord 3. Now, when I held the Nord 3 for the first time, it felt slim and light as well. It's only 8.15 millimeters thick and weighs about 190 grams. Having said that, the Poco F5 is even slimmer at 7.9 millimeters and lighter at about 180 grams. Now, we got this misty green color variant of the Nord 3 for review. It's got a glossy back, so it attracts a lot of fingerprint smudges for sure, which is not the case with the frosty ice color of the Poco F5. If you're considering the Nord 3, I would suggest picking up the black variant instead because that's got a sandpaper-like finish, so it'll have better grip. Now, to solve the grippiness problem of the Nord 3, I'd suggest you use that really nice soft silicone case that you get inside the box of the phone. It looks pretty good. Now, with the Poco as well, you get a case inside the box. What you also get with the Poco F5 is a headphone jack, which is a godsend for someone like me who uses a lot of IENs. But on the Nord, you get the alert slider. So, which side are you on? Headphone jack or alert slider? Now, the other ports and hardware are similar on both these phones. You get a Type-C 2.0 port at the bottom, you get a stereo speaker setup. You also do get an infrared blaster on both these phones. And apart from that, there is a SIM card tray which accepts 2 nano SIM cards on both the phones. Interestingly, both these phones also come with IP rating IP54 on the Nord 3 and IP53 on the Poco F5. So when you look at the looks and the functionality of the industrial design of both these phones, there's very little telling the two apart. In fact, they're very similar in nature, so I can't really pick a winner out here. Now, the Nord 3 has a large 6.74-inch 1.5K resolution AMOLED screen, and if that sounds familiar, well, it's the same specs as the OnePlus 11R. The only difference is the 11R has a curved display. Anyway, the Poco F5 in comparison has a 6.67-inch POLED panel, which is a Full HD Plus panel. Now, I did of course test the displays on both these phones side by side, and here's what I found. The first thing that you notice with both these phones is the extremely slim bezels on all the 4 sides. It's a very immersive experience when you're actually using the display, and this flat display is fantastic for gaming as well. Both these phones can touch a peak of 120Hz refresh rate, but they do also offer variable refresh rate. Poco F5 starts at about 30Hz, whereas OnePlus starts at about 40Hz. But one advantage on the Poco F5 is that you get 1920Hz PWM dimming, which means that if your eyes are sensitive to flicker in low light when you're looking at a high refresh rate display, that won't happen on the Poco F5. There is no such advantage on the OnePlus. But one advantage on the Nord 3 is that it can reach a peak brightness of 1450 nits, whereas Poco can touch about 1000 nits. And when you take both these phones outside, you can tell that the OnePlus Nord 3 is actually far more brighter under direct sunlight. Also, the color accuracy in the professional DCI-P3 mode is much better on the Nord 3. I found that the color tuning was better than the Poco F5. That's it, the Poco F5 does support Dolby Vision support. It's a 12-bit panel compared to a 10-bit panel on the OnePlus. Of course, you can't tell the difference between 12-bit and 10-bit in real life, but that's a technical advantage on the F5. Apart from that, since when we did a review of the Poco F5, if you haven't seen that yet, a card should pop up right now. It has already gotten Dolby Vision support on Netflix. Having said that, when I streamed HDR videos on YouTube and Netflix side by side, what I noticed is that OnePlus definitely does HDR tuning better. It has a better control over the highlights, and apart from that, especially in skin tones, Poco seems to have a red face problem, which is not a problem on the OnePlus. Now, also part of the display is the in-display fingerprint scanner that you get with the OnePlus Nord 3. It's very fast to unlock, and on the Poco F5, of course, you get a side-mounted physical fingerprint scanner on the power button. Now, which camp are you on? Now, touch response wise, you do get X-axis motors on both these phones, but with O haptics, it's tuned much better better on the Nord 3 compared to the Poco F5, which is not too bad, but it pales in comparison to the Nord 3. Overall, what I felt after using both these phones is that the Nord 3's display is slightly technically better in daily usage compared to the Poco F5, but I can tell that because I've been testing these two phones side by side. But for those who won't be doing these tests and they will be using their phone as a regular phone, they will still really appreciate the display on the Poco F5. And of course, the fact that it's got Dolby Vision and can do HDR is definitely a huge advantage. Now, the biggest upgrade on the OnePlus Nord 3 is the camera setup. We all expected the Nord 3 to have the same camera as the 64MP OmniVision sensor which was there inside the Ace 2B, which is what this is based on. But OnePlus has gone ahead and actually included the IMX890, the Sony IMX890, which is also present on the OnePlus 11R and the OnePlus 11. Thank you so much. Now, along with this 50MP sensor, you also get optical image stabilization, which was not present on the Ace 2B. Also, you get an 8MP ultra-wide, a 2MP macro camera, and on the front, you get a 16MP selfie camera. Now, I have tested the camera against the Poco F5, and let me begin by saying that the Poco F5 doesn't have great cameras to begin with, so let's see how these two fare. Now, if I'm dead sure of one thing, it is that the Nord 3 captures sharper textures and finer details compared to the Poco F5. So when you crop into the turf area in this camera sample, you can clearly see the finer lines of the netting in the Nord 3's capture, whereas the Poco F5 has smoothened it out. As for the color science, OnePlus goes for a warmer look that boosts the reds, the oranges, yellows and browns in the image to make it look very attractive. But yes, it does look punchier than the Poco F5 when you look at it side by side. The F5 might look more natural, but it is actually desaturating slightly to overcompensate. It captures duller images than what it looked like in real life. In HDR shots, Nord 3 offers better control over the highlights, pulls out more details from the shadows, and has better noise correction too in the darker portions of the image. Now, when you want to shoot friends and family though, both these phones get the skin tones absolutely wrong. OnePlus makes it warmer than usual, and I don't know what Poco is really trying to do here. In fact, OnePlus gets the color of the clothing wrong as well. But the lesser evil of the two is the Nord 3, considering the fact that you get crisper details and the exposure control is much better on the Nord 3 image. Against the light, when the HDR fires, OnePlus takes better looking pictures of your friends and family compared to Poco once again. Now, OnePlus says that it has upgraded the portrait algorithm on the Nord 3, and that shows. I like how the depth mapping is not a literal cutout from the background, but a gradual blur that looks more DSLR-like. Plus, the edge cutout is slightly better compared to the Poco F5. The Poco F5 is not bad per se when it comes to portrait shots, but technically the Nord 3 is better of the two. In low light, the Nord 3 takes in more light, offers sharper textures, and controls the noise better than the Poco F5. Now, the ultra-wide-angle cameras, both the 8-megapixel ones, are not very sharp, but OnePlus's sharpening algorithm does something where it clumps a bunch of pixels together to create a watercolor-like effect. Truth be told, I wasn't expecting any better from the ultra-wides anyway. Also, the Poco F5 shoots wider 120-degree ultra-wides compared to 112 degrees on the Nord 3. Now, the HDR performance of the ultra-wide-angle cameras doesn't match up with the primary one. There's more noise in the shadow region, and both are not good at highlight control per se. And there's definitely some color science inconsistency between the primary and the ultra-wide on both the phones. As for the ultra-wide and low light, the light retention capabilities of both the phones are almost equally matched, but the Nord 3 is undoubtedly much sharper and doesn't make the image look soft and blurry, which you can tell at 100% crop. Now, the 2MP macro camera images are okay at best. This is a camera that I would probably not use in daily life. Now, both the selfie cameras are sharp and detailed, but the F5 offers a close to natural skin tone as opposed to the punchy, oversaturated look of the Nord 3. But where OnePlus beats Poco handily is in HDR selfies. Look at how wonderfully OnePlus has managed to control the overexposed sky on the rear. It is a dreamy sort of look that works in OnePlus's favor. And the selfie portrait algorithm is just way superior on OnePlus. The gradual depth mapping looks very organic. Again, in low light selfies, OnePlus's night mode algorithm sucker punches Poco. I mean, it's punchy and colorful, and I like how confident OnePlus is with the processing here. Now, in video recording, you can shoot 4K 60fps videos with the Nord 3, but you can shoot only up to 4K 30fps videos with the Poco F5. But weirdly, OnePlus doesn't offer electronic image stabilization in 4K video recording, whether it is in 60fps or 30fps. And OIS is not enough for stabilized footage, as you can tell in our comparison. Poco does stabilization way better. Plus, OnePlus has this warm red cast in all 4K footage. Now, while OnePlus has won the camera round very easily, I like the F5 for 4K video recording. Now, if you do want stabilized video recording using the OnePlus, you'll have to drop it down to 1080p 60fps, where you can use the ultra stabilization mode and then match it along with the Poco F5. Now, ultra wide angle video quality tops out at 1080p 30fps on both, and both are almost equally matched here, so no worries there. And for some odd reason, even in selfie video recording, you do not get electronic image stabilization with OnePlus. It's a huge letdown if you ask me. On contrary, on the Poco, you get stabilization at even higher 1080p 60 fps video recording, plus the sound recording quality is better, and generally the video recording quality is also more attractive on the Poco. So here's a simple result. OnePlus is better at photography, Poco is better at videography in daily usage. Alright, let's talk about the performance. On both these phones, you get UFS 3.1 storage, you get LPDDR5X RAM on OnePlus, and you get LPDDR5 on the F5. But the actual performance, of course, boils down to the Dimensity 9000 chip that you get with the Nord 3 and Snapdragon 7 Plus Gen 2 inside the Poco F5, and it is a very interesting battle here. Now, the core architecture of the Dimensity 9000 and the Snapdragon 7 Plus Gen 2 is the same, but Dimensity 9000 has higher clocked prime core and performance cores as well. Moreover, the GPU used with the Dimensity 9000 is more powerful. In Antutu, ideally the Dimensity 9000 should score higher, but for some reason the Snapdragon 7 Plus Gen 2 inside the F5 beats it. Geekbench scores are nearly identical though. In fact, even the CPU throttle scores, where we run a 40-thread test for 30 minutes, we got similar CPU stability scores. Now in 3D Mark Wildlife stress test, while we got higher peak FPS scores on the Nord 3 because of course it has a more powerful GPU, the GPU wasn't as stable as it was on the Poco F5. Plus, it got hotter and lost more battery life as well. Now, I also played Genshin Impact on both these phones in their performance mode and with their respective game tools and all the settings set to maximum. Genshin Impact is the crisis of mobile phone gaming. The first thing I noticed is that by default, the Nord 3 picks medium settings where Poco F5 picks low settings. Anyway, I ran the game at medium settings with FPS cranked up to 60 FPS on both the phones. After 30 minutes, I got an average FPS of 57 FPS, but OnePlus did get hotter than Poco. Of course, both these phones in daily usage are extremely fast, they're responsive, there were literally no stutters whatsoever. But when you're looking at stress testing these phones or playing games on it for long durations, then I would pick the Snapdragon 7 Plus Gen 2 with the Poco F5 that you get. Because right now it's got a couple of updates, it's more stable. Maybe OnePlus can improve the thermal efficiency with a future update, but we'll have to wait and watch. Now let's talk about the battery. You get a 5000 mAh battery inside both these phones with 80 watt charging support for OnePlus and 67 watt for Poco F5. So what we notice is that OnePlus takes 34 minutes for a full charge, where Poco takes 45 minutes for a full charge. Honestly, that's not much of a difference. I can wait about 10 minutes extra. But what makes a difference in real life is the fact that both these phones do not support USB PD charging to the phones and from the charger as well. Which, I mean, if you're somebody who uses multiple devices with USB PD support like laptops, tablets and phones, then it's a huge concern because you can use one charger to charge all these devices otherwise. Now time for some truth. The battery life on the Nord 3 disappointed me. I'll tell you why, because in these 2 weeks, granted I was pushing the phone and testing it extensively, but there were days where I wasn't pushing it that much either, and the best I got was 5 hours and 7 minutes of screen on time. I mean, it's not bad, but it's average at best. So you will need to charge the phone at the end of the day. In comparison, the Poco F5 can easily last you 6 to 7 hours of screen on time, and there are phones with Snapdragon 8 Plus Gen 1, Snapdragon 8 Gen 1, which do offer better battery life compared to OnePlus Nord 3. Talking about network quality, both these phones are good with 5G connectivity on both Airtel and Jio. You get the sufficient amount of 5G band support as well. Although one thing I've noticed is that Jio's 5G quality has started degrading lately. Are you feeling the same as well? Let me know in the comments below. But during my testing, I noticed one thing which is very, very heartening is that the Nord 3's audio quality through the earpiece when you're making calls is absolutely stunning. I mean, calls are crystal clear. I don't know what OnePlus has done with the phone, but it's just stupendously good. It's way better than the Poco F5 for sure. Alright, Nord 3 is the first OnePlus phone to come with OxygenOS 13.1 based on Android 13. And the good part is OnePlus has promised 3 years of software updates and 4 years of security updates on the phone. Now with OxygenOS 13.1, you get a few tweaks on the Zen mode and game assistant as well, but nothing worth highlighting about. But I do like the fact that you can see the Zen progress now on your always on display, which is definitely very helpful in regular usage. Anyway, for the most part, what you get with OxygenOS 13.1 is a nearly bloatware free, very clean software experience that is actually fun to use. In fact, I'm growing to like OxygenOS a lot. I think all we had to do was give it some time. But I must say this, the moment you get the phone, or if you are already a OnePlus user, do go and switch off enhanced intelligence services. Now, OnePlus does say that they do encrypt all the data that is collected, and all of that encrypted data is processed within the hardware itself. But they need to add that disclaimer in the read more of enhanced intelligence services. Until then, I'd still be wary. Now compared to that, with Poco UI on the Poco F5, I actually do prefer Oxygen OS. Firstly, because with Poco you only get 2 years of software updates and 3 years of security updates, so you will get longer support on the Nord 3. And secondly, because there are a bunch of third-party apps and games that are pre-installed, which are mostly pointless. And apart from that, when you open the app drawer, when you initially set up the phone, there is a constant notification that comes from branch metrics, which gets really annoying. The experience on the whole doesn't feel as premium as Oxygen OS on OnePlus Nord 3. So software-wise, I'd pick OnePlus over Poco. So finally, the Nord 3 is definitely a great upgrade over the Nord 2T, that's for sure, and the wait was worth it. I like how OnePlus has made a well-rounded phone that offers a very good processor, and I like the fact that OnePlus has also offered a very good primary camera sensor as well. My only concerns are the average thermal efficiency and the average battery life, both of which can be fixed with the software update, which of course OnePlus has to issue for sure. As for the pricing, the base Nord 3 starts at 33,999, and I think the pricing is fair for the phone. I don't think that it's overpriced, primarily because you do get a plethora of good features, and apart from that, my experience of using this phone has been very good, and anybody who buys the phone is generally going to be happy with it as well. Now compare it to the Poco F5, of course the Nord 3 is much more expensive, but you get a better camera experience, especially for photography, and the software experience is also very good. You get the feeling of using a much better balanced phone with a premium feel as well. Not that the Poco F5 is not premium feeling, especially it does whatever it does for a much lower price, and I think it's well suited for gamers, primarily because SD7 Plus Gen 2's performance is very trustworthy, and apart from that, the battery life is also better. Two metrics that will matter a lot to gamers. So in which quadrant do you lie? While you think about the answer to that question, I'm working on the next video, which is a comparison of the Nord 3 against the OnePlus 11R, and I'm certain that a lot of folks are confused at the moment whether they should pick up the 16GB, 256GB variant of the OnePlus Nord 3 or buy the base variant of the OnePlus 11R. I'll answer that question soon as well. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Until then, keep tracking and stay safe.